This story is from the Lakota, and it's about White Buffalo Woman. Long ago, the Lakota were gathered together, all of the different bands, in order to have a hunting. And all of the warriors were gathered together in order to go out and hunt so that they could provide for the different Lakota bands who had gathered. But even though the sun was shining, there was no game to be found, and no one could find meat. One day, one of the chiefs sent two of his young men out again to try to find some game for the people. And they walked along until they saw this high hill. And they thought, well, we'll just walk up to the hill and maybe we can see better on top of the hill. And so they did. And when they got to the top of the hill, they saw coming far from the far west toward them a speck. And they kept looking, and as the speck got closer, they could see it was in the form of a human. And they also saw, as the speck got closer, that the human was not walking, the human was floating. And by this they knew that this was a sacred person, Wakan. And as the person came closer, they realized it was a beautiful woman, the most beautiful woman they had ever seen in their lives. And as she approached, she was carrying a bundle, and she was dressed in a radiant buckskin dress with quills of porcupine that were embroidered all over, in colors that no human woman could match. And as she came toward them, the two were amazed. One of the warriors was awestruck because he knew this was a sacred being. The other warrior, though, tried to reach for her body, thinking only of lust, that this was a beautiful woman. When he reached for her, lightning came down and struck him and burnt him to ashes, because the sacred women could not be disrespected like that. The other warrior, White Buffalo Woman, spoke to and said, "Go to your people, tell them I am coming. I am bringing them something holy." And so the warrior ran back to his people and told his chief, "White Buffalo Woman is coming, and she is bringing something holy for our people." And the chief had the medicine lodge raised and called out to all the people to prepare for this sacred woman, to cleanse themselves and purify themselves for her to come. And they did this, and on the fourth day, White Buffalo Woman came down toward the village. When she entered the village, she was carrying her bundle, and she walked up to the chief, and the chief said, "Welcome, sister. We welcome you to our home. We have no meat to share with you, but we would love to share water with you that we do have." And so the chief caused the maidens to dip sweetgrass into the water to purify it, and offered the purified water to White Buffalo Woman. White Buffalo Woman thanked the chief and the people and walked 4 times sunwise around the medicine lodge. And then she told the people to build an altar in the middle of the medicine lodge out of red earth. And on the altar to place a buffalo skull and a rack, which would be prepared for the gift that she was bringing. And the people did that. They raised an altar out of red earth, and Buffalo Woman went to the altar and drew a symbol on it and showed the people how to pray and how to conduct ceremonies. Then White Buffalo Woman took the bundle that she had and opened it. There was the sacred pipe. White Buffalo Woman said, "This pipe, this holy pipe, will unite all of the people together, along with the mystery above and the great mystery below. Take this pipe. And as she handed it to the chief, she said, the way you will hold it, you will take the stem in one hand, and then you will take the pipe in the left hand. And this is how you will hold it. And to this day, this is how you should hold the pipe. Then she said to the people, as you pray with the pipe, turn up the stem so that you are facing Father Sky, then down to Mother Earth, then around at the 4 directions. And then you will become the sacred bridge between the sacred above and the sacred below through the pipe. She also instructed the people, saying, the pipe will also be the one holy object that both men and women will have a hand in creating. The men will carve the stem and carve the bowl of the pipe. The women will decorate the pipe with porcupine quills in colors and in patterns that are sacred. Then, when a man and a woman plan to marry, each will hold the pipe, and as they hold it, a buffalo skin will be wrapped around their wrists to show that they will be united for life. And she would then turn to the women and said, you women are just as important as the warriors, because you create life, you create the next generation, you nurture the village, you nurture the families, and that's why you are important. Then she turned to the men and said, you, of course, are equally important because you bring home the provisions. You provide for not just your family, but for all of the people. Remember the pipe. Remember that it is the way that will unite all of the people together, because anyone who smokes the pipe must be at peace. Then White Buffalo Woman prepared to leave, and as she was leaving, she walked into the setting sun from which she had come before, going toward the west. Before she left, she told the people, I will return. I will return to you. And then as she was leaving, she rolled 4 times in the earth. The first time she rolled, she arose again as a black buffalo. The second time she rolled, she arose as a brown buffalo. The third time she rolled, she arose as a red buffalo. And the fourth time she rolled, she arose as a white buffalo calf female. The white buffalo calf female is one of the most sacred animals that anyone can encounter. Then, White Buffalo Woman walked into the sunset, and when she disappeared, suddenly out of the west came a huge herd of buffalo, and they came to the Lakota and allowed themselves to be killed so that the people would have meat and sustenance and everything they needed for their lives. And the buffalo provided not only meat, but skins for their homes and their clothes, sinews and bones for tools and for weapons. And we thank White Buffalo Woman for bringing all of this. Now, this is an interesting note. In 1994, in Wisconsin, for the first time in over 100 years, a white buffalo calf was born. And you can look this up if you wish. It's fascinating because not only was a white female buffalo calf born. As the calf grew, she changed colors. She changed to a black buffalo. She changed to a brown buffalo. And she changed to a red buffalo. White Buffalo Woman keeps her promise to us all.